From the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, the college football season kicking off at this mecca of the sport. As we say, welcome to Fox College Football, sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve. 16th ranked LSU, their first trip into the Rose Bowl to take on upset-minded UCLA. Welcome inside. Hope your first college football Saturday is off to a great start. Joe Davis, Brock Heward, Bruce Feldman joins us in a moment. So UCLA, Brock, fourth season under Chip Kelly beginning, and we were there yesterday. There is a belief in this program right now. Even though they were 10-21 over the first few seasons, they think that this is the group to get it done.
Yeah, I think there's two reasons for that, Joe. Number one was last Saturday in this building. They just throttled Hawaii. So they have that belief that comes from that production. But beyond that, to a man, the coaches, the players, it was almost a defiance to you and I, like, we can do this. Don't tell me how great the SEC is. We're pretty darn good, too.
And they are expecting a raucous crowd here at the Rose Bowl tonight. LSU, meanwhile, of course, the national champion in 2019 with a perfect 15-0 season. Heisman season from Joe Burrow. But Burrow and four others taken in the first round of the draft the following spring. And it was not the same story in 2020. They go 5-5. First time since 1999 failing to get a winning record. And so all kinds of questions swirling for the Tigers entering this season. My question to you is, what's this going to look like for LSU in 2021?
Well, I think that's what all the faithful can't wait to watch. From Louisiana, all those that traveled here. I do know this, Joe. This crew that's running out and Ed Orgeron, they know what winning and big-time winning is all about. He knows he also won't get a chance to hit the reset button again as he did this offseason with all new coordinators, 6 new staff members. It's game time. He knows this building. He knows the mecca that is this place. He can't wait to get it going.
And part of this incredible environment is at least 20,000 fans that have made the trip wearing purple and gold. We'll take it a break with our Progressive Insurance game countdown. It's LSU and UCLA with kickoff coming up on Fox. Back to Fox College Football, sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve. Joe Davis, Brock Heward, and on the field at the Rose Bowl, here is Bruce Feldman.
Joe, last Saturday night at about this very time, the LSU football team evacuated Louisiana, heading for Texas as the state braced for Hurricane Ida. A drive that normally takes 4 hours took about 11. It has been a very emotional week for the state of Louisiana and this football team. Much of the state has been without power. Their families' homes are dealing with a lot of damage. But last night at around 9 o'clock in the team meeting, Ed Orgeron addressed his team and said, listen, all of our people back home, they are hurting. He told a story about how LSU great Andrew Whitworth, who visited the team in the hotel, came by and said, listen, know this, every person that has ever worn purple and gold is counting on us here tonight.
Yeah, Orgeron said purple and gold is in our blood. Louisiana is in our blood. We're playing for Louisiana. Take pride in that, he told his kids. And they'll have plenty of backing in the stands here at the Rose Bowl. Tigers won the toss, deferred to the second half, so UCLA will get it to begin. High hopes in year 4 under Chip Kelly against number 16 LSU, trying to set the tone for what they hope will be a bounce-back season. Off we go from Pasadena. This is taken to the goal line by Kaz Allen. And Kazmir Allen brings it back to the 26. That is where UCLA will begin. And Chip Kelly's offense, you figured it was a matter of time before things took hold. The number 2 scoring offense in the Pac-12 last year, and they bring everything back. What do we got going here?
We got a game of math. We got Bruins and we got Tigers, and it's pretty simple, Joe. In this matchup, UCLA's front 5 have to defeat the 4. They have to. If they don't win that math equation, they can't get it done, and that's been the challenge. Is these SEC teams and Pac-12 teams over the decades have matched up. Chip knows it. It's a game of math. His 5 have got to beat the 4 tonight.
UCLA in the opener against Hawaii ran for 244 yards. Here's Britton Brown, who gets hit in the backfield and dropped by Micah Baskerville. Now the quarterback for the Bruins, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who took over the job week 1 of his freshman year. And he has grown so much, Brock. I mean, the efficiency numbers have gone up and up. Comes into the game within 36 yards of Troy Aikman for 8th on the UCLA list. All that said, he was off week 1.
And he knows he's got to be much more efficient and take care of the football tonight.
His first throw is in rhythm for Greg Dulcich, the tight end. It's ripped out of there and incomplete. They voted incomplete as Eli Ricks yanked it out from Dulcich.
The ruling on the field was a pass was incomplete.
That's a good question, Joe. He's definitely down before the ball comes out, and these are some yards you're going to want. I think he has control of the football, and we will take another look at this as it's getting buzzed down, and I believe his knee is down as he still has control.
Review. The ruling on the field was an incomplete pass.
And so they are going to take a look.
I'll say this 2 snaps in. This isn't Hawaii. And I think those UCLA Bruins guys can feel it and know it right from the jump. That knee is down as they are ripping and clawing and tearing at the football. Does he have control?
I think one thing's for sure, it's not a fumble.
100%.
Just a question of if they give him a completion.
Does he ever gain control through that process, Joe? Ruled incomplete. I don't think you're going to reverse that call. I don't think at any point he has definitive control of the ball.
We're talking about Thompson Robinson taking a little while to get going week 1. He missed 8 days early on in camp and didn't want to use that as an excuse. He missed it for undisclosed reasons, but you figure there was some rust there. He was a little bit off to begin the game, finished 10 of 20.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands incomplete.
Yeah, the call does stand. So an incomplete pass, and the biggest growth UCLA feels like offensively has been up front.
And Ryan is their most talented. They played a bunch of ball together. You got a lot of veterans in there. Gratton is their brawler, the kid from Pittsburgh via Villanova as well. And Kyle Phillips, little slot receiver. They don't like the matchups out on the perimeter. I wouldn't either against All-American corners. Watch him in the slots where he does his damage.
First third down of the game. Thompson Robinson heaving one down the sideline, and he's got Kaz Allen over the top into LSU territory on a gain of 37.
Remember the matchups on the outside, they don't like Hicks and Stingley, but they get a matchup they do love right there and take advantage.
Back to the ground on first down. They hand it to Kazmir Allen. He's stopped by Micah Baskerville, who he just beat on that long completion. And LSU fans are saying we've seen this movie before with that long play. This defense last year was the worst in LSU history as they gave up big play after big play. Allen puts his foot in the ground and runs for 5. It'll be third down.
It was the worst in the history of the program, period, end of story. And it's why they made significant changes. Joe, frankly, it's why I hardly even watched the tape from last year. Because it was so bad that I did not want to be in any way just biased tonight coming in and having that picture. They wanted to hit the reset button. They feel like they had the most physical camp that they've had in a long time. But those numbers speak for themselves, and it is not anywhere near the standard in Baton Rouge they expect.
So third down and 5 from the 34-yard line. Thompson Robinson in trouble and sacked all the way back at the 47. It was Ali Gay, the all-SEC defensive end, that got to him.
Well, and what this was is here is our Tigers, right, in our Bruins. There's your 4 up front against the 5. And that is zone coverage. That is a situation where Dorian feels like my 5 need to be able to give me a little bit of time and protect. But going backwards against the speed of Gay, yeah, I'm going to win that battle.
So from the fringes of field goal range to a clear punt situation. Back to return it is Trey Palmer. 2 return touchdowns in his LSU career. And the punt from Luke Akers is fumbled. He's back on it at the 10. So LSU with a sigh of relief will bring the offense onto the field with sophomore Max Johnson, who started the last 2 games last year, won them both. He's the son of the former Super Bowl champion quarterback Brad Johnson, the nephew of Mark Richt, and was supposed to be in a competition for the job with Miles Brennan, but Brennan breaks his arm before the start of camp, and it's not fair to say he wins the job by default. A lot of people on LSU's camp thought Max Johnson was going to win the job anyways. One of the questions folks have about this Tigers team, what does he look like in a full season as opposed to those 2 games to finish it up? First drive begins inside their own 10. Johnson looks to throw, and the lefty has a man. It's Jaray Jenkins with 13 yards on the first play. Now this offense, Brock, trying to recapture some of the magic of that 2019 season when they were the #1 offense in football.
Oh, and that Joe Brady system that they want to employ now with Jake Peetz, it helps to have experience up front. Got a lot of it, especially with Shanahan at center. And your 2 tackles, Boutte is phenomenal. The fastest player on this field tonight, certainly when LSU has the football.
Ty Davis-Price, the running back. John Emery unavailable for academic reasons. So heavy load coming for Davis-Price, whose first carry runs into a wall and a gain of just 1. And as big as the improvements have been for Chip Kelly's offense, credit to Jerry Azzinaro and what this defense has done over their 4 years.
And it's the physical presence right at the point of attack. Obonia is a big boy right in the middle. They play a nickel defense. They made that transition a couple years ago. Agude is just like an arrow fired off the end of the line of scrimmage constantly. And Quintez Knight is just a joy to talk to. Quantrez Knight, the transfer, 2-time transfer, has come in here, been a difference maker. He'll be all over the field from his nickelback position.
Part of a very veteran defense, 11 senior starters. Johnson, given time, steps up and delivers for Jack Besh. The true freshman's first career catch goes for 16.
And here's going to be some of the challenge for UCLA tonight. They're going to bring 5. It's what they do. It's what they did a week ago against Hawaii. You see the late rush there. They rush to cover. So they're playing man-to-man coverage, and if their guy stays in to block, they're going to try to bring 1 more than you can get home. When Max gets the ball out of his hands, Joe Burrow-esque, that's what he's going to be asked to do in this system. There's a lot of green grass.
That is broken up, and well, there he is, Quantrez Knight, downhill as he so often is, anticipating that toss that was intended for Boutte.
It's what he is built to do. He said he's grown in his coverage skills, but he times these snaps so well. He is a 6th-year senior. And the ball awareness there, that is nearly a pick 6 the other way. Those are the takeaways that a UCLA team is going to have. But tremendous ball skills and awareness.
Tigers empty it out for 2nd and 10 from the 42. Now Davis-Price comes back into the backfield. Johnson against the 3-man rush, steps up in the pocket, pumps, runs, and gets popped out of bounds after a gain of 1. Obi Ebo with a tackle. One of the 5th-year seniors on a defense that has 4 quote-unquote true seniors, 5 5th-year seniors, and 2 6th-year guys.
And 7 of them, Joe, did not begin their career here at UCLA. It's a band of misfits, but it's working together, playing together well, a high degree of football IQ and character, and an awfully big 3rd down to kick it off here.
First one of the game for the Tigers. Play clock down to 5. Down to 2. Johnson doesn't seem to know. And a timeout taken by LSU.
Timeout. LSU, they're first.
We'll take the timeout with them. No score. Off and rolling at the Rose Bowl. First ever meeting between these programs. UCLA is going to return the favor, head to Baton Rouge in 2024. Not just first trip to the Rose Bowl for LSU, but only their 2nd game ever in the state of California. They beat USC at the Coliseum in 1984. They now make the trip here to Pasadena, where they're looking at a 3rd down and 9 on their first drive of the day. Here comes pressure. Johnson steps up, in trouble, and down. The ball is out. LSU appears to be back on top of it as that pocket collapsed. Ty Davis-Price recovers the fumble.
And it's going to be one of the challenges for the young lefty. He's going to have to see guys coming from everywhere. They do not show. They disguise so very well. Look at the pressure coming from the corner. The linebacker is going to bail. They're going to change the picture, Joe. Pre and post snap on this young lefty as much as they possibly can and get pressure in his face. That was the game plan. And for the second time, the ball's on the ground, but LSU able to retain possession.
It's Mitchell Agude that got there first. The line drive of a punt. The first-year punter, Avery Atkins. Kyle Phillips will watch it bounce. UCLA back on offense, and we take a look at the ones to watch, sponsored by Papa John's. Anytime Chip Kelly's offenses have gotten going, it has been because of the running game. They spread you out to run, and they've got a couple hammers back there, running back and Zach Charbonnet and Britton Brown.
Arguably their most violent players. I think Knight defensively can certainly bring it. Agude with the big tackle for loss in the face of Max Johnson again. But as far as the guys that are the loudest, that just simply make the most noise. We saw the Pistons that were the legs of Charbonnet a week ago. 6 carries, 17.7 yards per carry. But those two set the physical presence of this football team.
Together, 10 yards per carry, 4 touchdowns last week. And it's Charbonnet on first down, slipping his way across the 20. Michigan transfer who set a Michigan record with 11 touchdowns as a freshman. That's a freshman record for the Wolverines, but only carried it 19 times last year. Decided to transfer, come back to Southern California where he's from and where he was recruited heavily by Chip Kelly out of Oaks Christian. Said we swung and missed the first time. We're happy we made contact and hit it out of the park with this try to get him. What a debut he had with 106 yards and 3 scores last week. He's got it again. This time nowhere to go. Ali Gay couldn't get him down. Charbonnet keeps charging forward and sets up 3rd and 1.
And that is the key. That was the key a week ago with the huge highlight making real plays that went viral everywhere. But Joe breaking that tackle, falling forward. He's a naturally forward lean. And look at this formation for the Bruins.
It's a little different. Taking spread you out to run it potentially to a new level. And now they're going to bring it back in more traditionally.
I think that is just to simply mess with that first-time D coordinator on the other side, give him as many looks as possible.
High snap. Thompson Robinson looking for the corner. Great speed from Stingley, and he's short. The All-American Derek Stingley makes his first impact.
Big time. Not just 6 interceptions as a freshman All-American. Not just a guy that nobody would pick on a season ago. Only 30 attempts his way. A guy that can bring it on the edge. Can be that physical force defender. What a remarkable one-on-one tackle.
Illegal blocking the back, number 57 on the offense. That penalty is declined. Result of the play, 4th down.
How many times will you hear from offensive coaches, hey, man, I want to get that corner to tackle, right? I want that guy in a one-on-one situation. Our scheme is to make corners tackle. Not these two. And it's the explosion, as Durante Jones said. It is just the twitch at nearly 200 pounds. And that number 7's a special number down there in Baton Rouge.
Second drive, second punt for Luke Akers. Trey Palmer dropped it. First opportunity. Backs up and gets this one to the 22. And is tripped up. LSU goes back on offense. Max Johnson and the Tigers looking for the first points of 2021 on the other side of this break. Ball is sponsored by Discover. Discover something brighter. And by Bear. Today, let's paint. Hey, what a scene it is today. What a scene it was outside before the game. And there's some concerns after last week. UCLA had just 33,000 people here. It was the second smallest crowd they'd ever had for a game at the Rose Bowl. But they were hoping that resounding win, a brand like LSU coming in, them bringing all their fans, it could look like this.
Yes, yes, and yes. And you mentioned it. Right, just second time ever LSU has ever been to the state of California. First time here, and I guarantee you every one of those fans that's here and every one of the players saying the same thing we are. We are fortunate and so blessed to be in this amazing building.
So here we go, second drive for the Tigers. UCLA brings pressure, and a quick throw is dropped by Butte. Got there before he was quite ready for it. UCLA wastes no time doing what they did the entire first drive. That is mixing up the picture and coming after him.
And that pressure is to mess with the clock of the quarterback. Jerry Azzinaro, the D coordinator, has been doing it a long time. Coach Norwood, the assistant head coach, came in last year as they transition to this system. They want to confuse. They want to mess with the timing and clock and speed the game up for the signal caller. And just watch him at the line here. What you see pre-snap is not what you're going to get after the snap.
And again, a first-time coordinator, Jake Peets, at any level. And his first game, Ty Davis-Price to the 32 with a stop from Daytona Jackson. They overhauled this staff after the disappointing 5-5 season last year. Jake Peets comes in, combining with DJ Mangus to run the offense. Defensively, Durante Jones replaces Bo Pelini. And another third down early for the Tigers offense. They rush only 3 this time. Underneath, it's Trey Palmer, and he's got an LSU first down. Return specialist his first 2 seasons. One of the guys in a very deep receiver group they think has a chance to step forward.
And there's going to be green grass just with the scheme and the defense you play, and it's about pitching and catching and then getting up the field right there. For UCLA, just limit the explosive plays as much as possible.
Johnson sets the feet, lets it fly. That is a big-time throw. But out of bounds, Jerry Jenkins couldn't keep his feet in. The coverage from Cameron Johnson.
Well, he's got a big-time arm. I mean, there is not a throw on the field that Max cannot make. It's why he won this job. And frankly, I think even if Miles Brennan had not been injured and they pushed each other as far as ceiling goes and just upside, Max has got a big-time arm and the DNA in the background with mom and dad to give it to him.
Well, he's got dad, the former Super Bowl winning quarterback, but his mom, Nikki, is one of the all-time great volleyball players at South Florida. Athletic bloodlines for the sophomore from Athens, Georgia. He's completed 3 of his first 6. Got to hurry and snap it. They just barely get it off in time. Pressure comes. They beat it with Butte. His first catch of the day takes him to the 46. Will be able to stop. Third down again. We check in with Bruce.
Joe, even though there were some other guys in his state who are ranked higher at quarterback by the online recruiting guys, when Max Johnson was coming out, Ed Orgeron, they loved his toughness and his poise, and he really kind of connected with this place. He told us he visited LSU 9 times, said it just felt like home, and they feel like they got somebody they can really build around.
There is a lot of conversation trying to diagnose who you're going to block, how you're going to block them, burning the play clock.
Third down into the flats. Davis-Price has a first down. Ty Davis-Price, one of the nation's top running back recruits a few years ago out of Southern Lab in Baton Rouge, and one of the guys that they hope is ready to have a breakout season.
Yeah, there's two things you can do. You can spend a lot of time like they have trying to get everybody lined up, or you play fast like this.
And the hands of Davis-Price on the ground. He's run down from behind by Mitchell Agude.
Right, it's a game of who's going to dictate to whom. Right, are you going to dictate to me defensively and confuse me and give me all your different looks? Or as Joe Burrow did 2 years ago, as Alabama did a season ago? No, we dictate. You have to deal with us. And the latter is what Ed Orgeron wants. He wants the ball out. He wants his playmakers in space. There's going to be some baby steps, I think, to grow in that process with a first-time coordinator.
And a relatively new quarterback. Here's Davis-Price on the draw play. Not much there. And I understand you want to get back to the quote-unquote Joe Brady offense of 2019. But let's keep in mind, that was Joe Burrow running the Joe Brady offense with a ton of talent on the outside. Yes. It's one thing to say you want to get back to that system, but that was a special version of that system.
With what, about 9 draft picks?
Yeah.
And a bunch of them in the first round?
Third down again, 3rd and 8. Josh Williams comes in a running back for the first time. Bruins bring it. Johnson gets drilled. He had no shot as
challenges as well, Joe, is when you condense down, you get into bunch formations, it makes it harder on the quarterback to diagnose exactly who's coming and from where. And for the center and for the running backs as well, that is just an extra defender. That is once again blurring that picture for the group up front. You try to get an empty, you try to spread it out and make that picture a little bit cleaner, you get in bunch. It's tough duty.
Bruins blocked the punt for a touchdown last week. Here they set up the return for Kyle Phillips, who takes a fair catch at the 17-yard line. Defense is telling the story so far. LSU and UCLA on a Saturday night in Pasadena.
Love this time of year because we get the SEC and the Pac-12, we get the Pac-12 and the Big Ten. Right, we get those matchups that the country needs to see, the playoff committee needs to see. And I'll say this, Joe, through nearly the first quarter here, LSU is playing with a whole lot more stinger defensively than they did a year ago. Having Stingley back helps and matters. And UCLA on the flip side, at the line of scrimmage right now, is not the same UCLA team that Chip Kelly's had to run out the last 3 years defensively.
From the 9-yard line, there was a personal foul penalty after the play. Right after we went to break, a late flag came out on UCLA that moved it half the distance to the goal. They get out of the shadow there with a gain of 6 for Brown, Clark, and Strong with a tackle. UCLA had the 36-yard completion from Thompson Robinson to Casimir Allen. 6 yards on their 9 other plays combined. Straight ahead, it's Brown. Lowers the shoulder, has a first down as the Duke transfer crashes to the 24. You can hear that, huh?
Well, his papa was a fullback at Army. So, you know, and his dad's watching right now going, yep, that's what I used to do. But I would not even get the ball sometimes, and I'm still running collisions like that.
He had a brother play corner at Troy. Good football family. Browns out of Canton, Georgia. Moved the sticks with that last run. He takes the fake here. Thompson Robinson tucks it and goes down. It was B.J. Ojulari who got there first. Part of what LSU feels like, even with 2 great corners, is the best strength of this defense. A very, very deep D-line.
Could be very difficult to run by them. We saw it earlier with the fastest Bruin, right? Kaz ran by the middle linebacker. But as far as linebackers on tight ends, corners on wide receivers, going to be difficult. And Ali Gay is about as long and as athletic as any end in America.
On 2nd and 10, they get it to Brown again. Waits for something to develop. It never does as Damone Clark sticks his nose in the hole. Half a yard maybe. 3rd and long coming up. First quarter. Only a 4-man rush. Thompson Robinson takes his eyes down quickly and is chopped down shy of the line of scrimmage. Bug Strong, another's tackle. And boy, sure to take his eyes down quick.
Well, you're not going to live in 3rd and 9. Look at the receivers down the field and what Dorian is looking at here. There is just nowhere to go with the football. Right, and I think in his mindset, maybe some of the plan and teaching tonight is don't just sit in the hole. Right, just don't sit back there and let that rush affect you. If it is covered, Dorian, you're a good enough athlete to at least, get some positive yards. But 3rd and 9 is going to lead, if that's what they live in, to punt after punt after punt tonight.
3 drives, 3 punts so far. Akers sends this one away. Trey Palmer signals for the fair catch and makes it at the 36. 10 seconds left to go in this first quarter. Back to the Rose Bowl after this. College football is sponsored by Pacific Life. More than 150 years strong. Protect what matters most. And by Dr. Pepper. Delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper. The one fans deserve. No score late in the first quarter. UCLA off to this 1-0 start after the 44-10 win over Hawaii, and that was good to help generate some buzz, but still a lot of people around here saying, okay, but that was Hawaii.
Yep.
What can you do against LSU?
Kind of feels like a little feeling out process for both sides, right? Ed Orgeron's got his lather going. No surprise there on a hot night here in LA. Right, he's evaluating his coordinators. They're getting the field. Chip had to figure out what was LSU going to do defensively. Could be a 4-down, a 3-down. Durante Jones, the coordinator, background with Dave Aranda, Mike Zimmer. Well, it's 4 down, and I think Chip knows everything he needs to. Now he's got to figure out how to block them. And frankly, Joe, for LSU, 4 carries for 7 yards for Davis Price. They are not moving the point of attack, not winning at the line of scrimmage.
And yet to really get the ball in the hands of any of their big-time playmakers on the outside, even with all this pressure UCLA's bringing.
So I would spend a lot less time trying to identify everybody and a lot more time throwing little bubbles, smoke routes, just getting the ball to my playmakers in space as quickly as I can.
And close to the end of this first quarter. Max Johnson, 5 out of 8 so far. Also been sacked already 3 times. Scrambling to his left, chased by Calvert. In trouble again, and hit by Otito Ogbonnia. That'll bring this first quarter to a close. LSU and UCLA meeting for the first time. It's week 1 at the Rose Bowl, and 1 quarter in the books. Back on Fox after this.
You know who my money's on.
Terry Donahue, 2 decades as a coach of the Bruins, passed away this summer. And many of his former players and their families in attendance as they pay tribute to him today. This was during the break. Remembering the 2-time Pac-10 Coach of the Year. One of those former players of his, Troy Aikman, in attendance. This NFL season is about to get started. So the second quarter begins from the 39-yard line. 1st and 10 for LSU. Or 2nd and 8 for LSU. Max Johnson facing pressure. This time he beats it with Coy Moore getting his first catch of the day and getting a first down to the 48.
I think that is the key. I was showing you during the break there between quarters, Joe, there is green grass, there is space, but you've just got to take that. You've got to continue to take those crumbs. They will lead to the cookie of a big play. But I think sitting there diagnosing everything, trying to figure out where UCLA is coming from is a lost cause. Get the ball out of your hands and let those around you be the difference makers.
They talk about how much talent, how much speed they have on the edge. Get into it and let it work. Here they go again to Devontae Lee. Juggles and incomplete. A little bit off the mark. Looking for the junior from Fluker, Louisiana, with the coverage from Devin Kirkwood.
I mean, Ed could not have been more clear. He wanted a Joe Brady system. And when I said, well, what is a Joe Brady system? That's pretty remarkable. That guy in 1 year already has a system. He had a tree with some fruit that's being born of it with his staff members. And he said it's one that lets everybody eat. You get the ball out and let your difference makers make plays on the perimeter. On 2nd and 10, pressure coming out of the secondary. He beats it to the sideline for the freshman Brian Thomas. And a flag down as Thomas backpedals his way to the 30 on a gain of 18. They were raving about this kid all camp long. A 6'5", 198-pound freshman from Walker, Louisiana. Pretty incredible hooper in high school, over 1,000 points as well, and he used that frame. You use that body. He's got incredible twitch for that size. But more importantly, that was almost just like a blockout.
Personal foul, face mask, grasping a helmet opening on the defense, number 7. 15-yard will be added to the end of the run. First down.
And that's Mo Osling, the veteran corner, just trying to get the young freshman down. But watch the timing anticipation. This is why Ed loves Max Johnson. 2 guys barreling down on him. He knows he's going to take a shot, but he puts it right between the 1 and the 1, and the big body receiver does the rest. It's hard to do and not flinch. To know that rush is coming, to feel the rush, but fire away.
Deep as either team has moved in this game. First down from the 18.
Josh Williams in the backfield. He's good at catching the ball out of there, too.
Pressure again. They go the other way. Jeray Jenkins makes it 1st and goal.
Well, there's no question. I think the same conversation was being had from the press box down to the field that you and I had up here. Get the ball out. That is 3 of 4 throws that are underneath 5 yards. They're giving you green grass. They're giving you cushion. You got to take it. And then when the pressure comes as well, instead of trying to change all the protections, stand in there and sling it.
Inside the 5 on 1st and goal. Ty Davis Price to the 2. 2nd down. And there's an injured LSU offensive lineman. It's the right tackle, Austin Deculus. He's playing in his 50th career game today. And the 4-year starter right tackle still down. We're going to take a break. Hey, it's college football sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve. I hate to see this for anybody, and especially a guy who has invested so much in this LSU program. Austin Deculus, a graduate senior from Louisiana, playing in his 50th career game today, helped off of the field after he was down for a while.
Just a brawler. Chance, if he could stay healthy this year, to be the first Tiger to ever play 60 games over the course of his career. Let's hope he can walk off that injury. And it looks like Charles Turner, Swiss Army knife guy that can play every position, is going to be in his spot.
It's an offensive line that brought back 5 starters from last year, but it's a group that struggled last year. They're hoping can gel early on this season. That's certainly not going to help, losing the most experienced piece. On 2nd and goal, Davis Price hit in the backfield by Knight. And it's 3rd and goal as Q Knight gets a tackle for a loss.
He's heard from everybody. He's on the edge of the line here, how downhill he is. Oh, he's just a downhill nickelback. It's like, I love to cover. I love to do everything. Yeah, but we're going to play to your strengths because this is what you do best. You love to eat in the backfield, finish those tackles. An enormous 3rd down here in the red zone.
So a couple runs go nowhere. Now 3rd and goal, and they back Johnson into the shotgun. He'll look to throw. Into the end zone. Boutte! Touchdown! LSU strikes first, and it's Kayshon Boutte. The breakout star of last season, who the last time he put on an LSU uniform set an SEC record with 308 yards.
He just strikes fear in opponents, even when the field condenses. He's number 1 on a little out route right here, and you can see the corner. Right, he just fears that explosion. That's actually Blaylock, the center, or the safety there, and you can't throw it better. Those two had some kind of chemistry at the end of last season. It carries over here in the Rose Bowl today.
Yeah, really, to your point, it was Johnson becoming the starter that kind of corresponded with the huge breakout of Boutte, who finished so strong and starts this season similarly with a touchdown. LSU on the board first. College football is sponsored by Geico. Save more when you bundle home and car insurance. And by DoorDash. Get more from your neighborhood. And they are fired up. Folks that have traveled from Baton Rouge and the LSU fans that call Southern California home. Cheering as Kayshon Boutte gets in the end zone on 3rd and goal.
One thing that jumps out about Max Johnson is how tight that spiral is. He is a lefty that can truly spin it. Cade McNown used to do it as a southpaw in this building, and those receivers love it. You know, they love to see that tight spiral. Doesn't matter if it's from a righty or a lefty. As good as you could throw that little out route.
Avery Atkins in his 4th season as the kickoff man drills a line drive and a touchback. Let's go back to that touchdown strike from Johnson.
It's a cool concept here, Joe. So everybody associates Joe Brady, right, with Jake Pete's new coordinator. He actually says Sean McVay was a huge influence. So you're going to see Butte here run the little out route, okay? Now, the key is that release, because this is Mo Osling. This is a corner. If he just releases here, the corner's going to cover him. But Sean McVay's watching this going, that's right, Jake. Don't put him on a corner. Put him on a safety and allow the quarterback to play with anticipation, throw into that window, because when you attack safeties, you can play faster, right? And that's just a stack alignment, a switch release concept, and one that Max Johnson and Butte have thrown hundreds of times in the summer and get it done.
Bruins go back to work on offense, and Greg Dulcich, the tight end, has all kinds of room, makes a move down the sideline, inside the 10. He is all the way in. Touchdown! 75-yard lightning strike. Had run the ball 11 consecutive snaps. They pass on the first play of this drive and find pay dirt for the first time.
You see Aikman right there in the jersey? See, I told you. Number 8 right there. Throw it. A beautiful, heavy run action, Joe. A tight formation. All those eyes of the LSU defenders see that run, and that run. Dulcich, the most explosive guy, comes out the other side. Woo.
I mean, they pound away, and they pound away, and they pound away, and then they act like they're pounding away and pull it out and toss it downfield. And the former walk-on receiver, Greg Dulcich, has turned into one of the top tight ends in the conference as a 75-yard score.
Your defensive coaches all the time say eye discipline, right? Here's Dulcich. Watch the eyes at the second level here of LSU. They all just go with the heavy run action. Look, everybody, look at them all right back here. They all think it is a run. They're still running to the sideline. Dulcich sneaks out the other side. And the kid that was 208 pounds when he's come in, who is a chisel, 250, shows you why he had 200-yard games a season ago. Like Chip Kelly says, you know who reminds me a little bit of? Zach Ertz, that he had in Philadelphia, that is just a difference maker, man.
From just up the hill in St. Francis. Dorian Thompson-Robinson with his second touchdown pass of the season. 75-yarder and a big play, yes, but a big play in the context of this game after LSU scores first. And all the questions still looming. Can you play with an SEC opponent? Are you for real? And they answer the first blow right away. R.J. Lopez was 8 out of 8 touchbacks last week. He'll go 9 out of 9 on this young season. Time for tonight's celebration moment, sponsored by Allstate, who's going to be celebrating tonight. At least right now, the answer is Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Well, I think for both of those quarterbacks, right? They've been hit a few times today. You talked about Dorian's eyes, right? Getting to the run pretty fast, tucking the football. Well, that is a beautiful call by Chip Kelly and his staff. Set up all that run. Get those defenders running. And get the big play touchdown. And oh, by the way, you pass Tommy Maddox.
And Troy Aikman with one throw. The 7th on the all-time list at UCLA. Tigers back on offense. First down run for Davis Price. He lost a yard.
Boy, they are not moving and resetting that line of scrimmage at all. I'm going to talk about all the issues with LSU last year, and I said it to Ed O yesterday. Man, you guys just didn't run the ball. Right? The pad level was high. There was not a lot of movement. Right near the bottom of the SEC, running the football as well. UCLA winning at the line of scrimmage versus that run tonight.
On second down, play action and blown coverage. They had a touchdown if he'd put it on Palmer.
There is no question about that. Max Johnson knows it. All of the pressure comes here. There is nobody It's a little run pass option. The ball, it looks like Maya got tipped or just came out of his hand. Incredibly funky. There is no one between 33, Palmer, and the goal line. And that's going to hit him.
3rd and 11. You know you're going to get an exotic look from this Bruins defense. That, I mean, they're exotic coming off of the bus. And it's 3rd and 11 here. Got all 11 men standing. They twist. He's well protected. He gets rid of it, but it's incomplete. Ty Davis-Price, the intended receiver. It's a 3-and-out after the touchdown.
And that one was batted down, and that was Agude, and you're right, man, exotic. LA's exotic, so play a defense that's equal to the city. Bring people from everywhere, stunt, move, high effort, and then Agude knows I can't get home. I better at least get my paw up. Because I'll tell you what, Joe, if that completion again goes to Davis-Price, kind of like the previous snap to Palmer, there's a lot of room to run after the catch.
Atkins drills this one. Kyle Phillips, a fair catch. Inside the 30. So after a very defensive first quarter, both offenses find something early on in the second. It's 7-7. Back in a moment.
We've had a million nights just like this.
Hey, Farm halftime, a top 5 showdown in Charlotte between Clemson and Georgia. Could 11th-ranked Oregon survive an upset scare? And reigning champion Alabama picking up right where they left off. They are still a great team. We'll show you the highlights at the half. Joe and Brock, back to you.
Okay, Mike, 7-7 game here at the Rose Bowl. Fans of all ages taking it in. Yeah, it was a very hot day. Got into the mid-90s, but it's turned into a perfect night as the sun is set over the San Gabriels. LSU back on offense at the 29 with a straight-ahead run for Zach Charbonnet. They escort him into the secondary, and he stays on his feet all the way close to midfield. Charbonnet for 19 yards on the first play of the drive.
And look what that does to that sidelines. I mean, this was a week ago against the Rainbow Warriors. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is a powerful young man.
220 pounds, Brock, but with legit speed and great vision. I mean, this is quite the package.
Yeah, that's quite the chain.
Ooh. Wow. Now, first 3 drives, they totaled 51 yards, but then they get the 75-yard touchdown in the first play of the last drive. And they get 20 yards officially on the first play of this one.
And it's almost like this LSU defense just took a breath. The first 2-3 possessions, right? And that is a good sign to see Gay get off on his own power. But they were playing with such an edge. And, you know, the team goes down and scores. And it was almost like, okay, we got these guys. We got Chip Kelly. We got Dorian. They can't run the ball on us. And then the heavy play action pass, the explosive play. And that time, Stingley, the All-American, I think he's saying to himself, okay, when that dude, 24, comes running at me with those pistons for legs, I better bring everything.
They call him the Terminator. You don't need to know a whole lot more. And it's the fact they call him the Terminator to know what his running style is.
Chip hasn't had a guy like him here the last 3 years. Felton was awesome.
Right through the hands of Thompson Robinson. Picks it up and heaves it to the sideline. Dulcich was in the area. And they avoid disaster here.
That's just a tough snap. Gains the center, I think, feels the nose tackle right on his shoulder. And that's just a heads-up play. That comes with 25 starts right there. Doesn't panic, doesn't fall on it. Knows that men aren't downfield, knows where his outlets are, and fires it back to the first down marker.
And you maybe don't see him make that play 2 years ago, because he told us yesterday that if there's one thing that he wishes he could go back and tell his younger self, that is, it is a team sport. You don't have to make every play yourself. You don't have to win the game yourself on every snap. But he does a smart thing there and kills it, and now stands in on 2nd and 10 and overthrows an open Dulcich. Well, had a couple options downfield there, but couldn't put it on him as he was feeling the heat from Ojulari.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Dulcich, again, gets behind the second level of that zone defense, but you just couldn't block those edges. Right back to the theme. Can your 5 block their 4? Well, Charbonnet's run through 4 tackles. You hit the explosive play. That's one of those situations where those edge defenders for LSU take away a big play during the face of Thompson Robinson.
So 3rd and 10. They only rush 4. He gets rid of it to an open Charbonnet, who will run for a first down and more. The Terminator inside the 20. He first runs for 20. Now a catch and run of 34.
Just confusion here for LSU. 2 Bengal Tigers. You're going to watch them run away here with 1 receiver, and there is nobody left at home.
And here's one of those wacky formations where they actually snap it this time. And Kyle Phillips, his first catch of the day, doesn't get much. Chip Kelly had a little twinkle in his eye, a little sparkle in his eye when we visited with him yesterday. One of the great offensive minds over this last decade or so. I thought he had some tricks up his sleeve, didn't he?
Well, he told you very clearly, Joe, if you get 9 hours sleep like he does every night, you could spend the other 13 hours designing formations and plays like that.
What coach gets 9 hours of sleep a night?
Charles Kelly.
They gave 4 yards to Phillips there. So 2nd and 6. Back to the ground. Charbonnet. A couple of blockers in front. He explodes in. Touchdown UCLA. Bruins lead for the first time. Key block from John Gaines to spring Charbonnet.
It absolutely was, but look at my 5 Bruins, right? Look at the 5 against the 4 Tigers right away, and that allows Gaines to come around and be the difference maker. A hat on a hat, you're not getting penetration. You can't do it better than that. Looks like Velcro. And Charbonnet finds pay dirt again.
And you're right, Gaines the pulling blocker, but Ryan and Gratton and Clemens and Anderson all have to lead the charge as well to give UCLA its first lead of the day. LSU strikes first, but the Bruins come right back, tie it 1 play later, and then march down the field on the back of Zach Charbonnet. 14-7 UCLA.
It's the edge of the world in all of Western civilization. The sun may rise in the east, at least it's settling.
Fox College Football is sponsored by the Eat Fresh Refresh at Subway. Zach Charbonnet with his 4th touchdown in really 1 game. He only played a half last week. Midway through the 2nd quarter of game 2. 71 yards in 6 plays, and Charbonnet accounts for 67 of those 71.
I think everybody was curious. It was one thing to do it a week ago against an undermanned defensive team, Todd Graham and Hawaii. Right, they just couldn't match up physically at all, and you wondered, okay, is that because it was Hawaii or was that Zach Charbonnet? And I think the answer here is pretty clear. Yards after contact, that forward lean, the explosion that he has shown you. He was one of the top backs on the West Coast just a couple years ago.
Continues to be a weapon. Take a look at our Pacific Life game summary, sponsored by Pacific Life, more than 150 years strong. It's kind of a quiet first quarter, but things have picked up here in the 2nd. LSU struck first, back-to-back touchdowns for the Bruins. They lead 14-7. And what stands out to me on this graphic, Brock, is for LSU, 11 carries, 1 yard.
And that's not all just sack yardage. I mean, that is Davis Price having nowhere to go. That is the blur of that front and all of those pressures that Ed Orgeron is looking at. It is not a sitting target.
They do, by the way, get Austin Deculus back in the game after he left with an injury. So he's back in at right tackle. Drive begins with a Johnson throw into the short side out of the backfield. Josh Williams, his first touch is a gain of 16 across the 40. The former walk-on, who they say is way too talented to have ever been a walk-on. They're not quite sure how they got him, but they're happy that they did, out of Houston, Texas.
His running back coach, Kevin Falk, loves him.
Pressure coming out of the secondary. Johnson trying to beat it over the top. Butte incomplete. Stride for stride in coverage was Jay Shaw as Johnson got drilled.
Yes, he did. That is one that sucks the oxygen right out of your lungs. It's Quentin Lake. He wears have the rib protectors, you have the shoulder pads, but when you're exposed like that, and that is a clean hit. I love that target from Quentin Lake, right? Gets his head out of the way, he puts the shoulder right into the lungs, and it does. It just takes the breath right out of you.
It's kind of hit where you put on the do this, not that targeting tape. That's the this. 2nd and 10, another throw. On the out pattern, Coy Moore quickly chopped down by Quantrez Knight, and 3rd and 3 coming up for the Tigers.
Well, you see when they're effective, right? It's pretty simple. The ball is out in less than 2 seconds. A touchdown drive, the first down completion. That one puts you in a manageable 3rd down. You just have to find enough of those plays in your playbook if you're Jake Peetz to get the ball out of your hand quickly for Ed Orgeron. Place is alive.
3rd down and 2. Everybody packed around the line of scrimmage. Johnson back to throw. Steps up. Over the middle. Incomplete. Looking for Palmer. He got hit by Bo Calvert as he let it fly. 4th and 2. But there is a flag down.
Holding on the defense, number 37. 10-yard penalty from the spot, automatic 1st down.
So a drive extending penalty on the senior safety, Quentin Lake.
Yeah, he tried to get away with it. There was a little bit of hand fighting. You're going to see him right here. It's where the ball was going. It sailed a little high and away. Both allowed to have a little bit of hand fighting. I think it was just a little bit of a tug. Chip Kelly doesn't like it because he's saying, hey, listen, it's a physical game. He's fighting with his hands. My safety's got the right to fight back.
So fresh shut it downs from the 40. Quick trigger outside Trey Palmer. UCLA rallies. And limits the gain to 3. Quantrez Knight over there with Jen Marquis. Next shots on 11 out of 18 now as Dad watches. Dad and Mom Nikki. Dad had him working on his 3-step drop and his 5-step drop when he was in elementary school. Started watching film together when he was in 8th grade.
His son has taken a beating in this first half, as Brad did for many years. Tough guys.
On 2nd down, quick throw again. Trey Palmer trying to pierce it against the grain there. Gets a few, and 3rd down again.
This is what you have to do, Joe. You have to be willing to live with these throws underneath. Right? They're going to bring an extra guy. If you try to just sit there in that pocket, you're going to get hit an awful lot. Eventually, you hope these throws underneath lead to that explosion.
3rd down 4. Johnson looks right. Pressure in his face. Too tall for Besh, and it's 4th down. Shaw again in coverage. And again, Johnson was feeling the heat.
He did. I would say this is his first misread of the night. You're going to see Butte come underneath, right? He's trying to push the ball here. Just a 4-man rush. Look at Butte underneath. It's 3rd and 3 or 4, right? This is just my 3rd start of the career. I think that is the one that you can look back at that tape and say, this was a bit of a force. Got to take the completion.
There we get a shot here, Brock, to see Cade York, who has a huge leg, trying to make his 11th shot from 50-plus as a Tiger. Officially from 52. There's a flag down. And he nailed it. Let's see what the flag is, though.
Ball start. Number 70 on the offense.
So he's good from 52.
4th down.
Can he do it from 57 like he did to beat Florida late last season?
Please reset the game clock to 7 minutes.
Those sneaky special teamers, Joe.
7, 1,
Ed Orgeron
6.
knows it. Former D-line coach. A little bit of a stunt and movement from that field goal block crew. Totally legal for UCLA. And you plan and you prepare against that. But that's an awfully big flinch right there against that movement in front of you, and takes 3 off the board.
Yeah, they're not going to even try. They're going to send the punt team out. And so instead of 14-10, stays 14-7, and Avery Atkins on to punt it. drop it in there, and does. Well done. The 5-yard line. Baskerville knocks it out. We take a look at our Ram Power Players, brought to you by Ram Trucks, built to serve. This UCLA defense, which was, to be honest, really bad. First season under Chip Kelly. Jerry has an arrow, but they've made big-time strides and showing up so far today.
Well, they said the heck with all this base defense. We are going to be a nickel defense like a lot of teams in college football. We can recruit enough speed. May not be able to recruit all the big guys up front, but they got a couple of them in Obonia and Jackson that are active, and from there it is chaos. From there, Max Johnson's on that phone going, man, it just feels like a blur out here, and we're not getting any run game going against Chip Kelly. Can't block them, can't identify them, and that chaos at the line of scrimmage advantage UCLA in the first half.
LSU wins the special teams battle here, backs them up to the 6. Britton Brown stacked up at the line of scrimmage. Damone Clark, first man there. Jordan Tolles as well. Inside 7 minutes left to go in this first half.
This place is just beautiful. I know the movie sets are right down the road, but you sit in this booth and it just takes your breath away.
Watching this game as a kid in Michigan, watching the Rose Bowl game as a kid in Michigan, seeing that shot and saying that's a real place. People actually live there. 2nd and 10, jet sweep. Kaz Allen trying to use his speed. He's bumped out of bounds. A lot of speed in the field right now as Cardale Flott knocks him out a little bit short.
Well, he is their fastest. He is their 10-400 meter. That being Kaz. You saw it earlier for Kaz Allen, the receiver on the go route. Many can run like they do in the back end of this LSU defense. But we've seen already it's about matchups. If Dulcich can do it, hit the big play earlier. Key run there puts him at 3rd and 1.
Straight downhill, Britton Brown. Enough for a UCLA first down. Andre Anthony makes the tackle, but a gain of 2 to move the sticks.
That's it. You're just not seeing a puncture. Right? That is what Ed Orgeron's defensive lines are built to do, get in that backfield. This is not a read and react defense on the D-line. It is reset the line of scrimmage. And those 3rd and 1 situations, and the old D-line coach knows it. Those are the ones that often identify, especially with these styles of play, the outcome of games of who can win that tug of war.
High snap, pulled down by Thompson Robinson. Loses a couple. John Gaines only his 2nd game at center. They're without Sam Marazzo, who is out the first couple of games with an injury and a couple poor snaps.
Yeah, he is a converted guard. He does yeoman's work. They love him as a center. We saw it earlier on the touchdown run. He's athletic, getting out front. But when you've not been in the center your entire life and you got the guys breathing on you like you do tonight, it's now the 2nd. Keep an eye on that.
2nd down, Thompson Robinson looks to throw. He gets intercepted by Eli Ricks. He had 4 of them last season on his way to a freshman All-America campaign, and he's got his first of 2021.
Yeah, and Chip, I think, is right there saying, hey, listen, you just can't take for granted. I know that some of those deep crossing routes have been effective. I know that LSU has lost their eyes at the 2nd level, but you're going to see in the very background here, the All-American candidate corner, he does not. He says, not again. I'm not going to run away from the route that's coming into my zone and vacate that. Instead, I'm going to take it away for the 5th time through the air in my short career here.
Making somewhat of a homecoming today. He's at Rancho Cucamonga originally. Played a lot of his high school career modern day in Orange County. Intercepts Thompson Robinson. First turnover of the season for UCLA. And great field position for the Tigers. And back to that decision by Ed Orgeron to punt and back him up. Johnson finds a hole in the zone. Keyshawn Butte slips a couple of tackles and gets a first down.
There is 100% direct correlation in the first half here to the amount of time that ball is in. Max Johnson's hands to the effectiveness of the offense. That's Joe Burrow. That's Joe Brady. That is finding solutions and answers in dictating and not allowing that rush to do it to you on the other side.
Offense with those two guys you mentioned scored almost 50 points a game in the championship season. Jailbreak there as they toss it into the end zone, and it's broken up, but PI. Quantrez Knight with the coverage as they look for Trey Palmer, and a flag flies.
Joe, I think this is the right call. I did not love the pass interference, the holding call on Quentin Lake earlier. But this one, I think Knight just loses sight of where the ball is and goes into the receiver
Pass
Palmer early.
interference on the defense, number 24. But he is 15 yards from the previous spot, automatic first down.
We talked earlier about how much Knight loves to come downhill and hit you, and has tonight. But feels like this part of his game is really grown just an inside fade route. But when you don't turn your body, you don't have awareness of the ball around you, and you jump into that receiver. He tries to turn at the end, but that initial contact is going to draw that penalty every time.
First down and goal. Got one-on-one with Butte to the bottom of the screen. Johnson back to pass, looking in Butte's direction, through his hands, and then off the hands of Shaw.
You saw it, Joe, that one-on-one, not just the numbers on the jersey, but situation for Butte there. That's one he usually comes down with. Did it have a little bit of steam on it? It sure did. But that's one Butte 9 out of 10 times going to reel in for a touchdown. And notice now to the bottom, no longer one-on-one situation.
Showing that safety Blaylock over the top on second and goal. Johnson looks to throw again. Scanning the field, directing traffic, lofting for the corner, and incomplete. The freshman Kirkwood with the coverage on Jenkins. Third and goal.
It's going to be fun. This stadium, you feel it, right? It's not just in its beauty. You're going to hear the noise come up. This is a big third down with 4 minutes to go in the half.
It's always had the beauty. They're trying to restore that buzz, trying to restore that roar with UCLA football. Got their touchdown on third and goal. Facing third and goal here. Pressure coming again. Johnson backpedaling. End zone. Palmer incomplete. It was behind him. Chased by Knight. And it's fourth down.
I think when push comes to shove, we know what Jerry Asnero is going to do on defense. He's going to bring more than you can block. It's coming. And Max tries to retreat and he just leaves it inside. He throws it to that back pylon as he's retreating, and that's a hard one. And that's a play that, yes, Palmer could make a one-handed grab behind him. But I think now it's very clear for Jake Peets, offensive coordinator. On the money down, the blitz is coming.
26-yard attempt for Cade York. Out of the hole to the kicker, Atkins. And he knocks this one right through. Decision of Ed Orgeron to punt after the penalty on the made field goal a couple drives before. It pins UCLA deep. Defense forces a turnover. Even though they get it first and goal line, unable to get in the end zone, but they do get three.
Yeah, I think one of the positives there, if you are Chip Kelly on the other side, remember 4 losses a year ago. 12 of your 13 turnovers came in those 4 losses. From those 12 turnovers, 71 points allowed. That is a touchdown on nearly every single one of those. For the defense to help out, Robinson Thompson there, right, to have his back after the interception and you put him in field goal range. In many ways, that's a win compared to a season ago.
Brock, they were really close to being 7-0 last year. They had 4 losses by a combined 15 points and turnover at the heart of all those. So a touchback. And to help people affected by Hurricane Ida, we hope you'll visit redcross.org or text the word IDA to 90999 to make a $10 donation. Your gift is a commitment to helping people in need. Every single donation matters. Financial donations enable the Red Cross to prepare for, respond to, and help people recover from this horrible disaster that originally was classified as a Category 2 storm pretty much overnight, reclassified to a Category 4, and arrived on Sunday. Catastrophic damage throughout Louisiana. As Tigers playing for that state today, trailing 14-10 as Zach Charbonnet gets swallowed up for a loss of 1 by Micah Baskerville.
And that is what you got to do. If you're Baskerville, if you're Clark, if you're anybody on the back end, you cannot let that engine get started. And I love that just almost disposition there to come downhill at Charbonnet, and you be the aggressor. You come hit him first and stop those legs before they can get started.
Second down 11, he'll look to throw. He's given time. Running out of it, though. Thompson Robinson will go down. Back at the 15 is Andre Anthony, the 6th-year senior, gets home, and it's 3rd and a mile.
Yeah, and there was nowhere. All 4 options. You saw Robinson Thompson here use his eyes. Initially a good pocket. He's looking 1 to 2 to 3. And eventually they just suck the air right out of that pocket. And these are the 3rd down situations you just got to avoid. You do not have the personnel out on the perimeter to run by these corners.
3rd down and 20 here. 2:40 and counting in this first half. And they will get what they can, and that is plenty from Charbonnet. Zach Charbonnet on 3rd and 20 gets 17. Major Burns pushes him out after a big play, 17 or 18. At the very least, helping Chip Kelly and the Bruins shift the field a little bit. So the home team will come out, 2:20, 2 timeouts for the Tigers.
I think one of those little keys in conversations with Thompson Robinson is also going to be, they just got to throw that ball away. Right on those 3rd down, 2nd down, you just got to avoid those downs and distances. He's made some really heady decisions. The interception was a bad one, but avoiding negative plays will be really critical in the second half.
Trey Palmer splits the first 2 and stays on his feet, stepping out of bounds around the 30. So 1:52 left to go in this first half. Max Johnson, 14 out of 25 so far today, and he's been around the game his whole life. Back to when he was 18 months old. His dad winning the Super Bowl down in San Diego for the Bucs.
They always used to say Jim Kelly played the position like a linebacker, which he did. But Brad Johnson was right alongside him in that way. He was a physical. You don't usually use that word to describe a quarterback. A little more in this day and age as they run, but Brad was such a physical presence, such an unbelievably tough guy in that pocket. And his son certainly oozes that same persona as he's taken a bunch of licks tonight.
I was going to say he's needed that tonight. Even at 6'5", 220, UCLA has brought heat pretty much every play. So 1:52 on the clock, couple timeouts to work with. First play of the drive. Johnson steps into the throw. Jenkins can't haul it in. Late got there at the last moment. Still a ball that should have been caught.
It was, but that was another jarring hit. I mean, we have seen this a bunch of times. A little double move versus zone coverage. That is Lake's zone behind it, so that corner can sit on that initial double move. I mean, Chip Kelly said, we are a louder team. You're going to hear those hits and those collisions. There is no question through these first 30 minutes. They are.
2nd and 10. They'll run it. Josh Williams into the arms of the defense immediately. Caleb Johnson, who started his career at Texas. One of the many transfers that now calls UCLA home.
They just can't get a hat. Right? It's just not a sitting target. They are constantly stunting and slanting and moving, and LSU in the run game can't get a body on them.
3rd and 8, a minute 20. Johnson floating for Butte, makes the adjustment, but the ball comes out. Quentin Lake might have gotten a hand in there. consecutive incompletion spells fourth down.
You said earlier about all the veteran guys on this defense, and if you miss just a little bit inside, right, that's a good throw, but it's not a great throw. And when you're playing all of this experience, because that throw is 8 inches behind Joe on the inside, it gives Lake the opportunity to rip the ball away. And that's the kind of precision as well that you've got to play against the rush, man. You've got to just hit it a little more accurate down the field.
Fair catch from Phillips at the 30. Coming up at the half, stay tuned. Mike Hill, Emmanuel Acho, and Coach Chris Peterson. State Farm halftime show.
Just can't tell you. We were here 2 years ago, right? On a beautiful Saturday night. Jalen Hurts, an Oklahoma team running in town. You remember that?
Oh, yeah. He's still
yes, he is. There was no just physical presence. There were no collisions. And it wasn't their fault. And even Lake was playing back then as a youngster. And they took their lumps. They took their bruises. But I think that switch to this scheme and this mindset to just be downhill and be aggressive and attack fits the recruiting and personnel very well.
Let's see here, Brock. 50 seconds, 3 timeouts. Thompson Robinson has to spike that ball at the feet of the offensive line as Ojulari got there. And now a flag flies for intentional grounding.
Now you're trying to set up a screen here to Charbonnet. You're also trying to avoid a sack. There is no question this is intentional grounding because Charbonnet had drifted out on that screen pass. Frankly, I don't know what is taking so much time here. There is no question this is intentional grounding. Well, they're, I think, trying to determine whether or not to take the runoff. Chip Kelly's telling jokes out there, too.
Yeah, talking to a guy that he recruited, and Eli Ricks. There we go.
Intentional grounding, number 1 on the offense. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Also includes a loss of down. This foul also includes a 10-second runoff. Please reset the game clock to 36 seconds. It will be down.
You could have chosen to avoid that by using a timeout, but moved well behind the sticks here. They won't.
That probably also makes a decision on what you're going to do here on the next 2 snaps. Run the ball.
LSU's got 2 timeouts if they want to stop and get it back. Thompson Robinson hands it off to Zach Charbonnet. Breaking tackles. Yeah, getting to the 29. And it appears both sides content to let this first half clock wind out. Such high hopes for this UCLA program in the 4th season under Chip Kelly. What was a very young group, all grown up now, trying to pull off a monster upset over LSU, which tries to have a bounce-back season of its own. It's 14-10 UCLA after a half. We get you to Mike Hill, Emmanuel Acho, and Chris Peterson for the State Farm halftime show.
That's right. Welcome inside.
Our first half stats sponsored by Domino's. Get a taste of variety when you order off the Domino's Mix and Match menu. 3 rushing yards for UCLA on 12 carries. And the Tigers trail 14-10 as we get ready to start the second half. And we welcome you back inside. Great to have college football back. Great to have you with us. Messages in those locker rooms.
Lots of adjustments for LSU. That number just that cannot happen.
Crazy.
3 rushing, and that's a running back. Sometimes that gets skewed with lots of sack yards. They have not been able to get a hat on a hat in the run game at all. So you're going to have to find some of that to slow down the UCLA rush. And let's remember too, this is a team that had to move right, that had to practice all week in Houston. Right, the challenge of that, a first-time play caller, offensive coordinator in Jake Peets. Lots of conversation in there, but it's going to be fine. Easy completions and get just some component of some run game going. And on the other side, I think to DTR is, hey, man, when we stay on schedule and that ball moves with Charbonnet, 7 carries, 70 yards, we can run at these guys. But the negative plays have killed drives for UCLA.
And the Tigers will get it to begin this second half. Won the opening toss and deferred. Tigers trying to come from behind here in the second half, hoping to set the tone for a bounce-back season. Perfect. The national champs in 2019, 5-5 last year. UCLA looking for what would be the biggest win under Chip Kelly. Trying to get off to a 2-0 start here in year 4. Lopez sends it away, and LSU gets ready to start the second half with the ball. Before they do, we go down to Bruce Feldman.
Joe, I just spoke to Ed Orgeron a few seconds ago. I said, what must happen for you guys to change the scoreboard? He said, first of all, we really have to find a way to protect the quarterback better, and we got to run the ball. We got to get it outside. We feel like that can help us. On the other side, Chip Kelly, the first thing he said was, this is a hell of a football game. Our guys are having a lot of fun. We got to find a way to finish. That's what it's going to come down to. Can we finish this game?
And again, close games did not go their way last year. 4 losses by a combined 15 points. It's been the message all offseason. Finish. This second half begins with the best run play of the day for the Tigers. They didn't have a run longer than 4 yards in the first half. They get 7 with Davis Price here.
And right behind the best lineman, Ed Ingram, the senior, I'm sure, had a voice in that locker room. Says, run behind me. An excellent push there between he and Shanahan, the center.
16 of their last 18 plays of that first half were passes, as they just couldn't get anything going on the ground. They don't get a whole lot here. Quentin Lake with a tackle. Davis Price is close. A little bit short, though, and it's 3rd and less than 1. Mitchell Agude lost his helmet, so he's got to come out. LSU just 2 for 9 on 3rd down in the first half. It's a quarterback sneak, and with a second effort, Johnson will get it. And even on a quarterback sneak, he's going to feel it.
Yeah, I don't think there was any question about the head coach and the lather that he had watching the first 30 minutes for Ed Orgeron, that he was going to have a conversation with the young staff. Guys that he wanted, right? He got to hit the reset button and bring new people in. At halftime, we've got to find a way to run it. 3 straight runs to begin the second half.
They're one-on-one down here with Butte, which they've gone after anytime they've had. Looking in that direction. On the move, Johnson will get decked to the sideline by Knight. It was good coverage by Jay Shaw, who, bit of a surprise that he didn't break camp for the Hawaii game as a starter. Played some, not a lot, but he's played a bunch tonight, and a lot of times he's been chasing the All-American.
Yeah, the 5th-year senior's got a ton of experience, and you got to try as best you can to just simply stay on top. But I agree with you. You've got a one-on-one there. I'm running a curl route. I'm running a hook. I'm running a quick slant. I'm doing something rather than just totally trying to run by that soft cushion.
Butte 3 catches in the first half, 21 yards, and LSU's touchdown. Back to the ground here. Davis Price gets clipped down. A short gain. Stephen Blaylock the tackle. Third and 10. LSU's first drive of the second half. This time the blitz is picked up. Coverage downfield is tight. Johnson runs, turns the corner, and gets a first down. That's something he showed off last year in his 2 starts. He's a big guy, but he can move.
And he is more than willing to do this. Once again, just an exotic look on 3rd down. People in every one of the throwing lanes, but enough green grass and enough athleticism. I think that's the mom, Nikki, the volleyball stud, that gave him that kind of twitch and quickness. I don't think I saw Brad run from any 3rd downs on 3rd and extra long.
Johnson picks it up, first down at the 49.
run a little sneak route with the big tight end underneath, right? You run it early, so you're trying to sneak the big tight end out here. But unfortunately, the ball sails over the 6'7" Taylor, the tight end, and right into the arms of the middle linebacker Johnson, that he too knows how to break tackles and do some damage.
And so UCLA teed up inside the 20. Trying to add on to a 14-10 lead. First play of the second half for the Bruins is a Britton Brown run. Goes down for a gain of 2 or 3. Now UCLA in that first half, they ran it for just 55 yards. They only had 9 pass plays, but they had some big ones. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, 159 yards on just 5 completions.
Yeah, I think it was the 4 sacks that knocked off a bunch of that rushing yardage. And again, avoiding the negative play is going to be so critical to try to stay on schedule. Points off turnovers, you know, are always critical.
On second down, Thompson-Robinson drills the slant out in front of Phillips. Coverage from Cardell Flock. That's 3rd and 7.
There is just not much room. There is not much space against any of these LSU guys. Other than misdirection, the play action, just trying to win and separate one-on-one, very difficult.
Headed down to that purple and gold end of the stadium. LSU fans making a lot of noise from just about the moment this place opened up this afternoon. Timeout, Chip Kelly.
You're first.
10:58 to go, 3rd quarter, and a 3rd and 7 coming up for the Bruins. Ball is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. And by Duluth Trading Company. Clothing and gear designed and tested to do. Boy, you don't want to cross the old coach, do you?
No, and he knows how much this means tonight to the place he loves and calls home. He also knows how huge this 3rd down is.
UCLA trying to take advantage of the short field after the interception. Out of the timeout, 3rd and 7. Coda, the man in motion. Thompson-Robinson scans the field. Oh, big man, it's Coda. His first catch of the year goes for a touchdown.
Miscommunication there, Joe, between the linebackers. Remember, LSU lost their starter, Jared Small, to a torn knee ligament on Tuesday. And right here, the 2 linebackers, Clark and Buckstrong, just do not pass off. Watch these 2 try to communicate. Try to pass off this shallow cross that's coming. A step late, crosses the face, does Coda, and leaps in for 6.
Chase Coda, guy that does a lot of the dirty work, right? Big guy out on the edge, and this run-based offense does a lot of the blocking. His first catch of the season goes for a score on 3rd down, and the Bruins take advantage of the takeaway, leading 21-10. Is sponsored by Ram Trucks, Motor Trend's Truck of the Year for the 3rd year in a row. Chase Coda's touchdown has UCLA in front by 2 scores for the first time tonight. A great crowd, great environment at the Rose Bowl. Always a special scene, but when it gets jumping like this, fans from both sides, hard to beat it.
Dorian did a nice job, how to pocket. We started the broadcast with those 5 guys up front. Could they give DTR enough time? He's been sacked a bunch. He's had to retreat a few times. That time did an excellent job against the 4-man rush. They busted the zone coverage. And this is critical mass time now for LSU. An emotional head coach. This is a team that plays off of emotion. Has been through an awful lot over the last 7 days. This is where Max Johnson, the youngster making his 3rd start, really has to show the poise that they love so much from him.
Time now for our second half connection, brought to you by AT&T Business, keeping your business connected with AT&T 5G.
Well, after going down 7-0, this was the very next play. All the eyes of the LSU defenders. They lose their discipline. Dulcich comes out the other side and 250-pounder rumbles. Charbonnet did it a week ago against Hawaii, 3 times into pay dirt because of excellent run blocking in front of him. And there's that protection that allowed that route to develop. Cota to find the end zone.
LSU very clearly trying to establish the run first drive of the second half. 6 of the 7 plays were runs. The lone pass was intercepted. They'll throw on first down here, just a 3-man rush. One of the first times he's seen this many guys in coverage. He makes 1 miss and steps to the 30. Carl Jones, the tackle after a gain of 5. Actually going to say that he stepped out much shorter than 5, just 3. The second and 7.
Just kind of feel like all of those looks, Joe, all of the different pressures that Jerry Azzinaro and staff have brought defensively, just kind of mess with the eyes and clock of Max Johnson just a little bit. And that's exactly what the plan was going in.
Second down and 7. This time they bring pressure. Low throw pulled in by Trey Palmer, and a first down for LSU. Palmer had 11 catches over his first 2 seasons. He's got 4 tonight.
Those are the throws that are there. When they put those 3 receivers to the field, right? And formationally, Jake Peets loves that. You see that here with the tight end, the 2 receivers. Just look at the amount of space here. Right, hitch routes, smoke routes, just get the ball to your playmakers.
That's what they do here, into the hands of Palmer. They take what the defense gives them, and then some, as Lake bumps him out of bounds after a 16-yard gain.
I mean, this is what they're giving you. I mean, and you have to take it, right? It's not overly complex. You get on the playground, and where is their space, right? Where is their green grass? Go sit in it. I'll fire it to you. And allow some of that athleticism to shine after the catch.
All the way to the 44. LSU on the move. Johnson delivers the strike, and there goes Boutte. House call, touchdown. 44-yard strike, and the Tigers back to within a score just like that.
And Joe, we saw this a couple times last week at Illinois, and the umpire with the pick here. Right, this is the route. Boutte is going to run it right off of the umpire. Go find that umpire and use him as the rub route.
LSU says thank you, Rodney Lowry. The umpire who's just doing his job, but Boutte, a veteran move, does his with a little bit of a wrinkle to get a touchdown. He's got both of them today for the Tigers, who are back to within 4.
How about that response? You want poise? You want to be tested after a pick? Come back and throw for 6.
Welcome back to Fox College Football, sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve. Got a great game going at the Rose Bowl. 21-17 UCLA. 4 plays, 77 yards, and Kayshon Boutte's second touchdown of the game goes for 44. Big strike response for the Tigers.
He is just next in line, like Jamar Chase right there, of those scary fast guys that look so smooth doing it. There's sometimes fast guys, track guys that are erratic with their speed on a football field. And then there's guys like Jamar Chase, like Boutte, like OBJ, like a whole crew of them that come through Baton Rouge that are so smooth, yet so unbelievably dynamic.
Jamar Chase getting reunited with Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, starting his NFL career. So midway through this third quarter, Bruins are able to take advantage of the very short field thanks to the interception for their first drive of this half.
Gotta feel like Zach Charbonnet time, right? You've kind of split some duties, but it just feels like every time he touches the ball moves forward, right? Good things happen. It looks like they're going to start the series with Britton Brown, and they've worked both of those as a 1-2 punch. Over these final 23 minutes, Charbonnet's got to touch the ball half dozen times or more for me, Joe.
7 rushes brought for 70 yards in the first half. He had to carry it in the second. Drive begins with a straight-ahead run for Britton Brown. Explodes off the right side, and the Duke transfer accelerates near midfield. Major Burns pushes him out, but not before 19.
Good job there by Dulcich to do just enough on the edge here to bump Gay, the defensive end. You lose contain, you lose that outside arm. By Tolles there, the safety, and it gives Brown the opportunity for the chunk run.
Doubles his yardage total for the day right there. Up to the 45, 1st and 10. Play action. Thompson Robinson threads one for Dulcich. Took one to the house from 75 yards the first time he touched it. Here he gets 24.
These linebackers are just having a tough time in conflict. Play action here. Watch them. Miscommunication on the touchdown. That time, just eyes totally lost. Undisciplined at the second level.
Thompson Robinson again looking for Dulcich. Same look. Trying to take advantage of the same thing, but incomplete this time.
He has them. You can see DTR with a little smile and point to his chest.
At the Rose Bowl, first meeting between LSU and UCLA. LSU's first trip to the Rose Bowl. They had a 7-0 lead. UCLA took the lead and has held it since. 21-17 midway through the third quarter. Joe Davis, Brock Heward, Bruce Feldman, Dorian Thompson Robinson, and UCLA from the 33. Back to the ground, Britton Brown. Good movement from that offensive line to get him 4. And third down coming up.
Purple and gold section they're going towards. It makes some noise.
It out. Both tight ends in the game for UCLA. Dulcich and Martinez. Thompson Robinson well protected, but the coverage is tight, so he takes off, makes a cut, and goes down. Damone Clark, the open field tackle, and it's 4th down for UCLA. What do you think? 4th down in about 2.5, and they're going to bring the field goal team.
You got to kick this. Yeah, I think you got to go try to go up 7 points, go up a touchdown. Not a little reflection of the difference in overall team speed. UCLA got guys on defense that can run, but we saw Max Johnson on the other side scramble for a 1st down, and you see how fast Clark and those linebackers and safeties close the space and cushion.
Nicholas Barmera, 6 out of 7 as a freshman last year. 1 for 1 against Hawaii last week. This one is right down the middle and extends the lead back to a touchdown. 24-17. A great game going on a Saturday night in Pasadena. Back in a moment.
Wow.
Rose Bowl, LSU's first ever trip here. National champions in 2019, 5-5 last year, looking for a bounce back year with an overhauled staff. A lot of the key pieces back. UCLA, meanwhile, the 4th season under Chip Kelly. Even though losing seasons each of the first 3, they think that this is the group. They think that they finally got it all put together with an entire team made up of Chip Kelly's guys. They cruise week 1 against Hawaii and leading in this one by a touchdown. RJ Lopez, 11 for 11 touchbacks this year. It's a big deal against a LSU team that has some talent returning. A couple touchdowns in Trey Palmer's career. And he once again watches sail over his head and give us a chance to look at our Pacific Life game summary, sponsored by Pacific Life, more than 150 years strong.
See those rushing yards for LSU, just a constant theme. That Orgeron is a guy that knows the line of scrimmage. Look where he stands. He watches it. He prowls and sweats on that sideline, watching that tug of war. You know, it doesn't look like a ton for UCLA because of the sack numbers. They have had effective runs against this front.
From the 25-yard line, play action in the first play of the drive. Trey Palmer has the reception. Quentin Lake brings him down. We've seen more and more of that as this game has gone on. If they're going to keep on bringing the house, just get it outside and let them go to work.
Throw the blanket on the guys at the line of scrimmage. How many they end up being? I don't know, 15 of them. Throw a blanket on them and make it a game out in space, out here, right? That's where the green grass. Look at all of the gold helmets around the ball. Now, will they mix up zones? Sure. Will they drop people into those? Absolutely. That's where the damage can be done.
Davis Price straight ahead. Stays on his feet and gets a first down. Let's check in with Bruce.
Joe, Cam Wire, LSU starting left tackle, hobbled off earlier in the game. They're checking out his knees. Questionable return. The last series, Garrett Dellinger, the true freshman, he actually played left tackle, and now Charles Turner's in there at left tackle for them.
Hey, Turner's bounced around for him tonight. He was in there for a while. Right tackle when Deculus was out. Left tackle now. First down and 10 from the 37. Johnson resets, lets it go, and has close to a first down. Back to Butte.
That corner blitz once again from UCLA late. That's going to come here. Just more of a distraction. A nice job by LSU. Two Tigers there, poised. Sliding in that pocket. When he sets his feet, I think that's one of the critical things for the young quarterback. When he can set his feet and find number one, it is a devastating connection.
Fifth catch for Butte, 75 yards, 2 touchdowns. From the 47, back to the ground in Davis Price. Not a whole lot there. And it's worth reiterating as LSU tries to find something on the ground. They came into the weekend knowing no Armani Goodwin, the highly touted freshman, and then found out right before the game no John Emery, unavailable for academic reasons. And so a running back group that they figured was very deep and somebody would emerge from it. Not the case here in the first game. Really, it's just been Davis Price with a little bit of Josh Williams. We've not seen any Corey Kiner either. Second down. Johnson backpedaling, sets his feet and throws high for Jenkins. Third down.
Feels like a big 3rd and 8. And he knows it as well. Not the ideal down and distance. We're throwing underneath with all that pressure. Can be difficult to do. One of these third downs, these money downs become so critical from here on out. Everybody at the line for UCLA.
That includes tight coverage. Obi Ebo on Butte to the top. Here they come. Johnson steps away, turns the shoulders, and finds Butte for a first down. They've converted all 3 third down opportunities since the break.
That is the drill you do as a quarterback. You turn your shoulders. He knows what's coming. Looks like punt block, right? You just do that drill. You practice it, and what tremendous effort there by the running back as well. Davis Price coming in, throwing his body, and then a perfect strike. Those two have a special kind of chemistry. You know every time that Max breaks the pocket, he knows exactly where number 1 is on the other end.
Inside the 40 with a 1st and 10. Davis Price to the 35.
Can I reiterate what Chip Kelly said to Bruce coming out of halftime? Heck of a football game, huh? Yes, it is, Chip. It took a while to build your team to a place where physically you could compete with the top 15 teams in America. You could compete with Ed Orgeron's top 5 recruiting class year after year after year. 2 talented teams on display tonight.
Second and 6. They're bringing pressure again. They beat it with Butte. Dances into the clear and gets tripped up for the first first down. E.J. Warnell got the tackle, but Butte got 18 more.
This is now going to test the resolve of UCLA because you could see it, right? You could feel it. LSU has got some answers now. They're throwing it to the field. They're throwing into some of those voids where the blitzers are coming. What will UCLA do now? Can you get away from what you are all about, which is flying around, and play a little bit of zone, right? Make it a little bit tougher. Constant chess match, the constant game of adjustments.
Butte with his 7th catch, 4 of those coming since halftime. Fresh set of downs from the 23. Johnson turns and throws low, incomplete for Palmer. Covered by Kirkwood.
And that was just as base as it gets. Rush 4, keep 7 in coverage, keep eyes right on the people in front of you. You could see it's almost like a line change. More Bruins come in. As aggressive as you are, you got to play a lot of people defensively with this style as well.
Something they couldn't do a couple years ago. They shouldn't have that depth.
50-some guys on scholarship when Chip inherited, over 80 now.
On second down and 10, Johnson looks to throw with a twist up front. He steps up, he tucks it and goes, dives forward to the 15 or 16. Where it will be third down, a down they've been perfect on in this second half.
It's about the most favorable down in distance at third and just a couple yards here. I think it has to be 4-down territory.
Third down along 2. Everybody jammed in that line of scrimmage for the Bruins. Johnson makes a change last minute. 5 to snap it. He does. Given time. Oh my goodness, he heaves it up, incomplete. A no-look heave as the pressure was finding him. Jones got there. What was Johnson doing?
I don't think I've ever seen that. And I know Mahomie has got a bunch of no-look passes, but not that one. Oh,
no. He is lucky that this falls harmlessly to the Rose Bowl field. Wow. They will settle, thankfully, for LSU fans, with a field goal attempt.
Don't ever do that. That's what's happening. Whatever that was, please don't do that again.
Cade York made from 26 earlier. This one from 33, and he just sneaks it in. 24-20.
This thing looked like it had one of my pull left drives, but it's somehow snuck through that upright. Right at that moment, it looks like it's going left, but it straightens just enough. Sneak in for 3.
Hey, remember a couple hours ago when the game started, you had that old Tecmo Bowl looking video game thing, the animals?
Well, Gilbert and Brooks? Yeah, I remember that. Yes.
Yeah. Well, first of all, the thing was sweet. Good work. What do you think? How's this shaping up? Because you're not going to have a chance if you can't win inside. Chip Kelly talked about that all week.
I think those 5, it had been about equal to. They've certainly had their moments, and this was greatness right here. Letting Charbonnet get out and break tackle after tackle after tackle. Right? I think this is a win. I'm not going to say it's just greater that they're running all over LSU as they did a week ago, but they've been equal to, and that's enough. And I think more importantly, in critical moments, Joe, like in the critical moments after a takeaway, that 5-man against a 4-man Ed Orgeron rush, it was good enough. And I'll say it again, I'll reiterate it last drive, is barking at his guys. This got to be Zach Charbonnet time. Right? I mean, at some point, and I love the 1-2 punch, but that guy is a difference maker.
Kaz Allen going to bring this out from 4 yards deep. It winds up being a good decision by 1 yard. Getting to the 26. Now, Charbonnet is yet to carry it in the second half. 7 carries for 70 yards in the first. And it does not appear that he'll be involved to begin this possession.
Maybe you want the closer in the final 15 minutes in the late rounds.
Oh, there he goes.
But I think clearly back to that graphic as well, this is not those four dominated the line of scrimmage. Right? This is not an SEC team that came in here and just overwhelmed a much weaker Pac-12 offensive line. I have not felt that presence at all. But much more of a stalemate at times. And UCLA drawing enough blood to keep them honest.
It is Charbonnet out there to begin the drive. He's leading the way for Thompson Robinson. Lowers the shoulder, surges ahead for 8. Ojulari the tackle.
That's really good by the center. We've seen this a couple times. That's also when you know how well you're doing at the point of attack. Can you let John Gaines get out in front? Right? Can you stop the penetration enough so Gaines can get out as he did there on Damone Clark, the linebacker? Nice 8-yard efficient run on first down.
You don't see a ton of it from Thompson Robinson, but when he does, he's very good at it. 2nd and 2. Here comes Charbonnet. First carry of the second half. Patient running to let it develop, and he gets the first down to the 40.
First guy just doesn't tackle him. What is that, his 8th carry? He had 6 a week ago. I don't know if in any of those 14 rushes, the first guy that hits him brings him down.
And that, Brock, is how you average 15 yards a carry, like he is over the first 2 games. That is going to do it for the 3rd quarter. And as we move to the 4th in Pasadena, UCLA looking for an upset win, looking for the biggest win under Chip Kelly here in Game 2 of his 4th season. The Tigers looking for a bounce-back year and looking for a comeback in their first trip to the Rose Bowl. To the 4th we go.
Okay, honey, we really got to...
Football sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve, and buckle up for the 4th quarter at the Rose Bowl. 24-20, UCLA in front. And with the football, 1st and 10 at its own 40. Zach Charbonnet, the running back. He's got it off the left side. Not much room there. Micah Baskerville getting the start today with the injured Jared Small. Small lost for the year with a knee injury this week. So Baskerville in there. And he stopped Charbonnet on a gain of 1.
That's a nice job by Andre Anthony, number 3 for LSU, the defensive end. That group up front had that 4th quarter to enjoy the light show, to enjoy the music, and know that it's about business and that point of attack and winning it at the line of scrimmage that may very well define the outcome here in the final 15.
Charbonnet again. Finds the seam, and there he goes. Zach Charbonnet inside the 20. All the way to the 15 as he romps for 41. Breaking loose for the first time this half.
Elite vision is what Chip Kelly said about this running back. The star that has hit college football on the run the first 2 weeks. And that just speaks to it. That run pops the backside. He feels that, right? That his instincts as a runner right there. That's not where the play was designed to go. He could feel that huge hole open up and explodes for the massive, explosive play.
2 games at UCLA, 16 carries for 225 yards and 4 touchdowns. First down from the 16, leading by 4 and looking for more. Thompson Robinson gets a block from Charbonnet this time. And a solid first down pickup for the UCLA quarterback.
Joe, it's been a long time since this building has felt this way for these guys playing on it. They turned the corner last year, as you said, 4 losses by 15 points. And giveaways were a huge part of that. But I'm just telling you, the juice in this place and the energy and the belief of most importantly, the guys on the field, but what it's creating for these people in the seats, it's been some years.
5 straight losing seasons. Looking for their biggest win in a long, long time. Charbonnet has a big hand in what they've done tonight. There's a flag down as he gets inside the 5.
That's going to be a hold, I believe, on the edge.
Holding, number 85 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay, second down.
So they get the tight end Dulcich.
That's a one-on-one with Anthony, the defensive end, and this is tough duty here. It's usually Martinez, number 88, the big blocking tight end. Dulcich is doing all he can. But I believe when Charbonnet bounces, what that linesman is looking at down the line is just that tug of the jersey to draw the critical penalty.
How about LSU tonight? Just one penalty in their season opener.
Huge.
And again, I don't think we can say enough what this LSU team has gone through over this last week. They've been displaced from Baton Rouge, busing overnight to Houston, evacuating with Hurricane Ida coming. Many of them having to check on their friends and family back home throughout the week. They're checking down and dropped by Charbonnet. It's 3rd and 14. Many of their own houses damaged.
Family and friends and loved ones back home that you know their hearts and their minds, and just emotionally as a young person that you are thinking about, that you care about. And yet, as Ed Orgeron said, this group cares about one another, too. It's been a bonding and a wonderful week, almost a bowl week-esque preparation. And he's still smiling through all the intensity.
Well, that penalty has really sent UCLA back here. 3rd and 14. They thought that they had it 1st and goal prior to the hold. Brown replaces Charbonnet. Thompson Robinson facing pressure. Finds Dulcich. Beating it. Making a cut. He is inside the 5. 1st down and goal for the Bruins. Big catch after big catch for the big man from Glendale.
Well, once again, this has been the weapon, right? We have seen this. This has been the play of choice. It's been underneath, attacking that second level.
They're right back on the ball. Britton Brown with a convoy and a touchdown. From 3rd and long to a touchdown in the blink of an eye. The Bruins back up by 2 scores. Britton Brown says, "Don't forget about me." All the talk about Zach Charbonnet. Brown gets into the end zone for the touchdown with the extra point from Barmira. It is 31-20. Well, they set it up with a long run from Charbonnet. We were wondering when he was going to get going again. A holding penalty put him back. It was 3rd and 14 before they found Dulcich to put him on the doorstep. And Brown stepped through the threshold. It was Fox College Football is sponsored by Pacific Life, more than 150 years strong. Protect what matters most. Chip Kelly smiling with his Bruins in front by 2 scores. 12:28 left to go in the showdown at the Rose Bowl. They go 73 yards in 8 plays. Key run, 49-yarder from Zach Charbonnet. They convert 3rd down and 14 and score on the next play. Joe Davis, Brock Heward, Bruce Feldman. Where would you rather be on a Saturday night in September? The Rose Bowl, UCLA and LSU with a packed house. There's just no question when Lopez is sending it down there. It's another touchback, although there is a flag down. Flag down back around where this ball was kicked from.
UCLA, Joe, and if I'm LSU, I think I'd make them re-kick it. Got a return that's taken 2 to the house the last 2 years on a punt and kickoff. That's a conversation right now.
Offside on the kicking team, number 7. That 5-yard penalty will be added at the succeeding spot. 1st down, LSU.
So they're going to take the 5 here and start the drive from the 30. We talk about the long run from Charbonnet, but the biggest play on that drive is this 3rd and 14
It
pickup.
is, and watch these two. Doles and the middle linebacker try to communicate here. That's Baskerville, and that talking right there at the snap, right? Look at his eyes. His eyes aren't on his man, and because of it, Dulcich runs right away from Tolles. Communication the issue last year, right? Bo Pelini. Nobody on the same page, nobody communicating. That's 2 touchdowns. That wasn't a touchdown that led to it. It was Coda earlier. Miscommunication at the second level. UCLA taking advantage.
Pressure on the Tigers and Max Johnson, their young quarterback. First down from the 30, facing pressure as he has all night. Delivers quickly for Butte. Over 100 yards on his 8th catch.
How many times does Butte have to touch it in the final 12?
More. Yeah, plenty more.
But until they double team him and put a safety right over the top, which should then open it up for others, anytime you get a one-on-one, number 1 has to get the ball.
He's got both their touchdowns in this game. Got 4 on first down, so 2nd and 6. Johnson looks to throw again. Quick trigger again for Trey Palmer, who gets ripped down by Quentin Lake.
He's had himself a game. He's the one that his buddy pointed to, right?
The general.
Last night, the 6th-year player transfer said, "Nah, man, that's my guy right there. He gets everybody organized, just like his dad did wearing that uni back in the day." The general creating a big 3rd and 5.
Everybody's standing for UCLA, trying to make the picture as cloudy as they can for Johnson. Here comes a 4-man rush. Johnson gets rid of it, incomplete. Cameron Johnson the coverage on Coy Moore, and it's 4th down.
Said it exactly right. I mean, it's as many different defensive fronts as you can get, and then ultimately try to sort it out on the back end. I try to sit on that route. You're playing the sticks. It's 3rd and 5. That's just an excellent job by the North Texas transfer, making his biggest play yet as a Bruin. Sitting there understanding down and distance. And, Joe, that's what happens when you have 4th-year seniors, 5th-year seniors, 6th-year seniors, all 11 of them that start for these Bruins. Lots of experience.
Coming after this one. Atkins gets rid of it. Fair catch from Phillips. Inside the 20. Bruins with a 2-score lead and the ball. 11:05 left.
Fresno State Bulldog team taking it to the wire. And Ohio State just showed their athleticism and speed to pull away from Minnesota late.
Fresno State next UCLA opponent. A couple weeks here at the Rose Bowl. So the Bruins, they've got the ball up 2 scores with 11:05 to go. Britton Brown off the left side has a seam and has a first down. These are what Chip Kelly's offense is supposed to do. It's supposed to be able to run the football. Inside 11 minutes, they'd love to lean on him, wouldn't you think?
And old big hands, number 88 for Chip. Mike Martinez, I've not said his name nearly enough on the edge right there. The biggest hands in the history of football, and that's not exaggeration. Locking the edge down.
Same look. Crunched inside after a few. Jaquelin Roy, the tackle for the Tigers.
This will be an interesting game management here, Joe. Chip likes to play with tempo, right? I'm a little surprised he snapped that last one after the first down run as quickly as he did, but that's his DNA. And that's what the whole system is built on, right? To play with that rhythm and that tempo. And these are always a bit of the dilemmas. Up a couple scores where you do want to utilize that clock, but you got to stay within the character of what got you here.
2nd and 7. It's quarterback lead. Thompson Robinson bouncing to the sideline for a first down. Using his legs some in this second half, making a difference, running for 9.
And who does he run behind? Number 88, once again. Watch my big man there on the edge. Those two, it allows you to pull around with Gratton. Right, it takes everybody blocking in this system. Your tight ends have to block the edge well. Your receivers come in and block. Your running back, in that case, Brown, got to be just like his papa was at Army and be a blocker for the quarterback. And that whole 5 versus 4 deal, starting to feel a little bit here now. That line and that group is starting to overwhelm the line of scrimmage these last couple series.
175 on the ground. Robinson looks to throw. Rolling to his right. He's got a seam to run, but there's a flag behind him as he punches his way through a defender. Well, this is likely coming back.
That's going to be the right tackle. Alec Anderson on the scramble, hard on those tackles. But his hand gets outside the frame for the holding call.
Holding, number 70 on the offense. Penalty from the previous spot. Replay, first down.
DTR reminds me, I told him yesterday, a little bit of Russell Wilson, who he's trained with, who Dana Bible has trained Russell for many, many years, and obviously was his QB coach, DTR, the last 3 years. I've seen this with Russell when he scrambles. It can burden those tackles. They don't know where he is behind them. It's a blessing and a curse. But unfortunately there, as he escapes Alec Anderson, all he can do, the right tackle, is grab some cloth.
It's a net loss of 24 yards. Wiping away the run and adding the penalty out. So 1st and 20. They were able to overcome a holding penalty on their last drive to score a touchdown. Britton Brown stretching right side. Big hole. To the sideline he goes. And he lowers the shoulder, getting close to the whole thing back.
This is really cool. This is an unbalanced look now. You're going to flip your tackle over. That's Sean Ryan on the right side. That is your left tackle playing the extra tight end, the right tackle. The unbalanced look there. The extra lineman. LSU does not adjust. And you're just starting to feel, man, this group wear down LSU, Joe.
There's a massive hole. UCLA over 400 yards of offense, 193 on the ground, 8:25 and counting. They lead by 2 scores, and they've got it in LSU territory. And they come straight downhill with Brown, who got tripped up in the backfield by Bug Strong. He was able to get back to the line of scrimmage. It's 3rd down, less than 1.
That was just a run dog right there, just a run blitz. You cannot sit there and let these polars come out in front. You're not winning. You're not getting penetration. So what do you have to do? You have to pull the trigger. Excellent play there by Strong.
Clock starting to become a factor in a 2-score game. 3rd and about a foot.
Sneak.
Yes. For 1st down.
That's a big left tackle. Sean Ryan right there, 74.
That is Neil Farrell, who is down in pain. So take a look at Farrell. We'll take a break. By the new Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Could it be the best Coke ever? Right after LSU scored the first touchdown of the game, and I mean right after. The next play, a 75-yard touchdown for Greg Dulcich.
And it was punt, punt, punt for UCLA to begin the game. Right? Just no rhythm at all. And you're wondering, and I'm sure they're thinking, oh, here we go again against the top 10, top 15 opponents. Super talented team. And that punch right back. It just kind of drew blood right back, and it's been back and forth. And now it's really been last 7 or 8 minutes, UCLA imposing their physical will, wearing down this LSU crew.
Got a 1st down at the 43, and LSU needs to stop quick. Charbonnet loses a couple. Baskerville and Anthony combine in the tackle.
Well, if we wondered how he was going to play, he being Chip Kelly, the clock management game, I think this is wise, especially at home. That wasn't always the way he operated at Oregon back in the day, by the way, with leads in the 4th quarter.
Of course, you know, one of the messages going around that offensive huddle right now is ball security. Such an issue last year. We're going to look to throw here, and Thompson Robinson finds Kyle Phillips. He stays on his feet. He's inbounds and in the end zone. Touchdown, UCLA. He just would not be denied, and he's in from 45 yards.
And that was through the arms of an All-American All-American corner as well. He breaks the tackle. It starts with protection. Period. End of story. Imposing your will in the run game. Blocking those 5 up front. Plenty of space for DTR. Right on the money to Phillips. The juke. And Stingley's left grabbing for air.
And LSU is left looking up at that scoreboard, seeing 38 allowed. Different year, but at this point, same story for the LSU defense. Unable to slow down the opposition. Kyle Phillips, who's had a quiet day, makes a statement here, 38-20 with 6.5 left. Fox College Football is sponsored by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And by Rocket Mortgage. For the playbook on home loans, Rocket can. UCLA can tonight, 38-20. Back-to-back touchdowns after LSU had gotten to within 4. It's Kyle Phillips, who led the team in receptions each of the last 2 years, had just 1 for 4 yards prior to that. Breaks multiple tackles and goes 45 yards. To put LSU in a really, really deep hole. Here's the first chance for Trey Palmer. And he gets drilled at the 25. Chip Kelly, one of the great reputations offensively recent years, but there were some questions if this offense could work against an SEC defense. Back to his days when he was dominant with Oregon, those incredible offenses for the Ducks. 2 games in 2011 against the SEC defenses and didn't do a whole lot, especially running the football. But tonight's been a different story.
And LSU felt great about their group up front. It's easy for me to say, well, this LSU crew is not what those were in 2011, but by their own account, they felt like that was the strength of this team, is that group up front. And UCLA has worn them down.
6:25 to go. LSU going to need to move quickly. On first down, Max Johnson throws incomplete. Gets hit as he lets it fly. It's been that kind of night. Tito Omonia hit him.
I'd be pretty surprised if this isn't just 4-man rush and play zone behind. A little bit of a line stunt. Lets Omonia once again tee off. Max is going to be unbelievably sore. He has taken a pounding and a beating. Very little run game. He's had to run for his life, and that hurts, man. That is a... Omonia's an All-American shot putter, and he just shot Max through the turf.
Now, Max Johnson has not played poorly by any stretch. He's missed some throws, but he's been under pressure all night, and he's had no running game to help him. On second down, stands in, delivers a strike. He's got Jared Jenkins. Jenkins with a gain of 15. Stopped by Jay Shaw.
And again, I think Jerry Azzinaro, the D coordinator for UCLA, is going to have to fight it a little bit up in the booth because he's itching. Right? He loves to pressure. He loves to blitz. But I just don't think this is the time. You're going to do all you can and give up some yards, but just can't give up the big play.
Rush is only 4. Able to get home even with 4. Ball is out and recovered by Turner. Mitchell Agude. Wow. Untouched coming around the end.
And that is Turner, and he's doing yeoman's work, filling in everywhere, but he gets beat off the jump. It's all with the hands right there once again. You watch Hard Knocks, you watch those D linemen do that drill. Swipe the hands away. Agude is a monster, a tackle for loss or half of one in every game he's played as a Bruin. Adds yet another sack to the column as well.
He's the first guy that Jake Pete said jumped off of the film for him when they watched that Hawaii game back from last week. They do bring pressure on 2nd and 15. Johnson has an open Chris Hilton. Incomplete.
Just can't help himself.
Has an arrow. No. He's a beaut, isn't he? I wish you could see him. The booths here at the Rose Bowl are tinted. We can't get a peek at the 4th-year defensive coordinator who spent 12 of the last 13 years with Chip Kelly at all his different stops. 3rd down and 15 for LSU. timeout taken.
They're first.
So timeout taken by LSU. And we take a look at our Pacific Life game summaries, sponsored by Pacific Life. More than 150 years strong. Protect what matters most. It has been all UCLA as this game has gone on.
You know what's pretty remarkable is there's been hardly a throw to a receiver on the outside. Right? You don't attack Stingley and Ricks in their strength, right? Go after the middle. Go after the underbelly of that defense and then just pound them. Pound them, pound them, pound them. DTR, the one interception early. Otherwise, he's been terrific. Right? Just poised, what you'd expect out of a guy that's been a starter for 4 years. Been through the ups and downs. How sweet must this feel for him tonight?
He's averaging almost 30 yards of completion. 9 out of 16 for 260.
And when he's on and he takes care of the football, they can beat anybody in this conference.
This conference, especially in the division that feels pretty darn wide open. On 3rd down and 15. They bail out of a pressure look and rush only 3. Johnson moves off his spot, directs traffic. And now will load up and deliver for Moore. Spot him right at the marker. Is Coy Moore. Comes up with his 3rd catch of the game. See, looks like a little bit short. 4th down and less than 1.
The clock just ticks.
Trying to sneak it, and they'll get it. Four and a half and counting. Johnson has Butte with a flag down. Keyshawn Butte steps out of the tackle and takes it in. Touchdown LSU. We'll see what the flag is for.
I think that was a free play. I think that's against UCLA. Too many men trying to run off the field late. And the one guy that if you're going to double play zone that just can't touch the ball, he just touched it and made a huge play for the Tigers.
Illegal substitution on the defense. That penalty is declined. The result of the play, touchdown.
45-yard touchdown for Keyshawn Butte, who has all 3 touchdowns tonight for LSU.
Yeah, UCLA totally just discombobulated, confused personnel, people running on and off the field. You're going to see it right up here, trying to get someone off the field. Savvy move. Max knew he had a free play, and he'll be the difference maker.
Extra point is there, and back to a 2-score game. Keyshawn Butte is coming off that 308-yard game against Ole Miss in the finale last year. 9 catches for 148 and 3 scores in the opener this year.
Yeah, he is just going to be the next. Book it right now. I know he's only a true sophomore, but he'll be the next top 10 LSU draft pick wide receiver. It's DBU. It's turning into wide receiver U as well.
How about the last 2 games, Brock? 23 catches for 456 and 6 touchdowns.
I mean, part of you almost wants to say, just throw it to him. 25, just target him 20, 25 times.
Maybe getting involved in some jet sweeps, like any way to get the ball in his hands, especially when you have a group with a lot of questions outside of that. A lot of talent, but not really an established performers outside him at receiver.
That's kind of what they did at Bama a year ago with their Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah.
And it's the strength, man. It isn't yards after catch. I was down on the field pregame watching these LSU wide receivers warm up. And they're down a few of them tonight. They're down a bunch of guys. We've hardly talked about that as well. I mean, and I know you hit on it earlier, but starters, difference makers. Big D tackled when Logan's out with a broken foot as well. right? The trials of this week. This is adversity at the ultimate, and I think they're setting up for an onside kick, which is a must at this point.
4:08 left to go. They've got 2 timeouts. It's Cade York. It's a big bounce, but it's recovered by UCLA. There's a flag down. Ethan Fernia got the recovery on special teams for the Bruins.
Wow, he got that bounce, Joe.
Yeah, it's the kind of bounce you want.
I think when you burn that timeout, that's why I said I think you're forced into the onside kick. Just come back and bite you as you're trying to fight.
Illegal formation on the kicking team. Did not have 4 players on each side of the ball. That 5-yard penalty will be added to the succeeding spot. First down, UCLA.
Well, we've talked all night about the close losses for UCLA last season. The message all winter and through camp has been we've got to finish. And those were Chip Kelly's words moments ago. They're all on that sideline, seeing a lot of smiles. They can sense it. Still 4 minutes to go. Thompson Robinson looking to throw on the first play of this drive. He will run out of bounds.
Ooh. That is what you don't want to do.
He knew it right away. Hit himself on that number 1, saying, my bad.
The clock will still run, but there are some seconds there that you just got to stay in bounds, and he knows that. I'm an old coach, kind of like Chip Kelly. He's coached a lot of football, right? Tom Moore, still coaching for Bruce Arians down in Tampa. And he used to always say, it was the simplest thing. Whoever plays the hardest, the longest, wins. I remember thinking 20 years ago, like, okay, yeah, it's so often it is true, and that is exactly the messaging that Chip's sparking as well.
Britton Brown bouncing to the outside and getting a first down. Brown finally has had a fantastic day as well. He's getting close to 100 yards on 15 touches.
And this could have very easily been a holding call. We've seen 2 of them already. If the other 2 were holds, that one's the most egregious yet. DJ Ojulari there, who's got to hold down the edge. He's the edge defender. Ojulari is saying, hey, hold on a second, man. You called this twice earlier. This play bounces outside. Watch my shoulder pads.
Under 3 now. Brown, 15 carries, 88 yards. Has it again. Makes a jump cut. Lowers the shoulder. And gets 4 or 5. It was one of the things Chip Kelly is really looking forward to watching was these 2 big, bruising, hard-running running backs.
They're second.
Charbonnet and Brown. How they would match up against an SEC defense. And they've run with the same violence we saw last week.
You know, and he reminded all of us in our meeting yesterday, he's always been a running back operation guy. It's not been the quarterback necessarily. It's not been the receivers. Think of his running backs through the years at Oregon. Michael James, DeAnthony Thomas, and he can smile and make a little fun of the clock management there. But even in the NFL, with all his guys in Philly, and certainly these 2 are the best he's had yet here in Westwood.
What do you think of the way the schedule shapes up for him as they try to win the South?
This is going to be a physical affair coming off of this game. And as Chip said to us last night, like, man, a night game at home is always really dangerous for a head coach next week. And he reminded him last week against Hawaii that if you want to beat LSU, what you do Saturday night into Sunday will be as critical as what you do Wednesday, Thursday. Stanford struggled when they have a quarterback.
Second and 5. Brown again. He gets what he can. A couple. And LSU will use its final timeout.
LSU, their 3rd and final timeout. 30-second timeout.
For LSU. A couple more tune-ups before SEC play.
Yep. I think those are tune-ups to get right at home at Mississippi State. I don't think they'll play as much man coverage as they did a year ago against those guys. I think they learned that lesson. And then it's right into the teeth of SEC play. You know, I asked Ed Orgeron a pretty simple question, right, about your front 4. And if your front 4 can handle this Chip Kelly line and this crew. And he said, well, I'll tell you what, Brock, we don't handle them That's not good because the SEC is going to bring this every single week at us.
Came into the season with a lot of questions, and some of those questions that came into the season with are going to be left unanswered.
I think their coverage, they're elite on the perimeter. Their safeties and linebackers, and that was an area UCLA felt like they wanted to pick on. Right, Lou Small, probably the best coverage linebacker to a knee injury this week, lost for the season. They felt like that was the part of this team that they could attack. They could wear down the front, which they have. They could confuse those guys in the second level, which they did. And because of it, they're up 11 with 2.5 to go.
And trying to seal it here on 3rd and 3. Thompson Robinson gets the first down. All the talk about the running backs, but then there's Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who throws for 260 and 3 touchdowns. And when they've needed him to run, he's done that too. 220 away from his biggest win as UCLA's quarterback.
That's 4 years searching for this moment. He's won some games, not the big ones. He's heard the criticism. He's heard the praise. You play in this market. Rich history here. A lot falls on your shoulders. And this kind of efficiency, this kind of big playmaking combined with the 2 backs in the line. Look out, Pac-12. A lot of folks were talking about it last week nationally, saying, hey, keep an eye on UCLA, right? They were kind of the trendy one. Ooh, that's a good win over Hawaii. But who was Hawaii? Let's see Chip do it against LSU. It's a pretty definitive statement over 60 minutes. Really in all phases of it once again, Joe.
It's a team that brought back 20 starters from last year. Chip's first class, seniors now. They've combined that with, as we've talked about, 16 transfers, and somehow he's blended in seamlessly.
Yep. One thing that really stood out to me, and I said this to you 2 or 3 times over this week and at practice, they had nobody out. First time I've been to a practice. Compare that to LSU, right? And all the challenges that they have faced getting ready for this one. A training camp with loads of guys injured. This is the healthiest, deepest, best team, no question, that Chip has ever had. And you go to a practice and you see nobody injured. You see nobody on the exercise bike. Testament to their commitment off the field as well. And for the Pac-12, this is exactly, the new commissioner, George Kliavkoff, is here. This is exactly what he needed to see.
They'll snap it one more time, and that is going to do it. The biggest win under Chip Kelly. UCLA takes down number 16 LSU. And in relatively convincing fashion. .27 the final score. I think they were intrigued by what they saw last week in the Hawaii game in front of a very small crowd, second smallest crowd they've had here since they started playing games at the Rose Bowl 40 years ago. Intrigued enough where they loaded it up tonight with a little help from some friends from Baton Rouge. You can imagine that the buzz is going to continue to build around this program. As we go down to the field, Bruce Feldman has Chip Kelly.
Thanks, Joe. Chip, you have a lot of guys who've been with you for 3 and 4 years. They stayed committed. They bought into your vision. They've been through some rough times. How do you feel getting to see them to celebrate on this stage?
It's awesome for them, but first off, what this team's gone through, LSU, with the hurricane and things like that, first, our thoughts and prayers are with everybody down there in Louisiana and what happened to them. And winning the game tonight is awesome for our team, but there were some bigger things going on, and we understand that.
You guys outrushed them. You had almost 200 yards on the ground, held them under 50. This is a big physical SEC team. What was the key to getting that done?
You know, it took a lot of hard. I mean, it was a slugfest in the first half. That D-line is as stout as we'll probably face. And I think over time we got to pop a few runs and started to get some things going. We obviously hit some passes that kind of got them on their heels, some big plays. But we did it on all sides. I'm really just happy with how our defense played against a really good offense.
All right, thanks, Chip. Joe, back to you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Bruce, 3-9, 4-8, and 3-4 in Chip Kelly's first 3 seasons. They are 2-0 with a win over 16th-ranked LSU to open 2021. 38-27 the final. We'll be right back with more post-game coverage at the Rose Bowl after this.